Hello, everybody. This is Paul Neeson of the Raw Life Health Show. Good morning, and thank you for watching today. If you're watching us on the live broadcast or if you're watching on a replay, I have an extremely important message I want to share with you today. I promote health, and I've been promoting healthy eating for a long time, and I do my best to eat and live as healthy as possible. I woke up this morning and I checked my Facebook, and I just found out that an old friend had passed away last night. And he wasn't just somebody who was living life, he was living life to the fullest. And he was a health teacher, one of the best health teachers out there. And I was shocked because I hadn't even known he was sick. And apparently, he developed cancer unexpectedly. And now he's gone. He's no longer with us. And how in the world can something like this happen to somebody who takes care of their body, who eats healthy and lives healthy, and literally eats and lives healthy? And this is the third time in the last couple of years I've met somebody who or I've known somebody who has treated their bodies healthy according to all the instructions that I teach when it comes to health, that have died from cancer. And I wanted to make this message right now to warn everybody and also plead with everybody. Do not neglect your health. Do not make excuses. And do not see people in this position dying and thinking this diet doesn't work. Who knows how long, what would have happened or how much sooner this would have been if he wasn't eating healthy. The first time this happened was one of my best friends, actually my best friend, not one of my best friends, literally my best friend, uh, ended up getting diagnosed with cancer and with 1 year died. And he ate almost identical to myself. And it was a lot of confusion over that, but it just confirms that the raw food diet and eating healthy and living healthy is still not a panacea. And there's so many other things out there that can factors when it comes to our health and what we should be eating and what we shouldn't be eating. There's so many other factors, and we can't only look at diet when it comes to health. We have to look at all the areas. We have to study and learn and do our best in all the areas. And the only comfort I can come by to find with my best friend passing was well, because he was so diligent in his health, how much longer that most likely prolonged his life. Instead of if he was just doing the standard American diet, how much shorter and painful it would have been. And then there was a health promoter of particular supplements last year that apparently was diagnosed with cancer but didn't tell anyone and tried to cure it behind the scenes and was unsuccessful. And then he passed on, and it was to everyone's shock that he passed on. And then finally, this person last night that passed on, that I find out about him. And if anyone wants to know his name is Danny Vieira. And he had a health crusade, a Seventh-day Adventist ministry health crusade in California. And just great teachings. He promoted the Gerson therapy to heal cancer. He had a lot of great teachers over the years come through his ministry and teach about healing cancer naturally. Just great, wonderful teachers that go right along with this Bible. It goes right along with the body and how we should be eating and what we should be doing to keep our temple holy and clean. And something like this happens. And I want to say that it goes beyond our physical life. There's a spiritual life. We're only here for a short amount of time, and if we have a relationship with our Creator, eternity still awaits us. So it's tough for us, but it's not necessarily tough for the person. But the real thing is the confusion here. How could somebody eat so healthy and end up dying before their time? And why? Why? Just why? And this cancer thing is not a thing to play around with, folks. No disease is something to play around with. But this is why I so diligently try to help people. And I try to tell people about Dr. Shendel's cancer blood profile test at American Metabolic Laboratories, AmericanMetabolicLaboratories.net. It's so imperative that people get there or .com, but whatever it is. But it's so imperative that people take that test, because it can tell somebody 10 years before they get cancer if they're developing cancer. Now, this fellow, when he found out and it was diagnosed, I just read this morning, he was almost in stage 4 already. And that shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. So to take the money and the time to take a test like Dr. Shandel's test, to know, is so important. And it saddens me the more people I tell about this, and they just make an excuse or blow it off and say, well, if insurance doesn't cover it, I don't want to do it, whatever. Diligently to take care of our body and our health the best we could. And then we have to make decisions if something happens. I have another friend who's 88 years old. He's one of my best friends, Dr. Fred Bishie. He's been eating a raw vegan diet for over 60 years. And he's in great shape, but he's had situations in his life over the last 10 to 20 years that ended himself up in a hospital. And he attributes his getting out of that hospital, number one, to our Savior, Yeshua Messiah, but also to his great health. He said, if I wasn't as healthy as I would have been, I would have never made it out of that hospital. And I don't doubt him for that. So here you got a man who goes in a hospital at 70 years old or in his 70s for a particular problem. I think he had mold or something that was in his walls in his office, and he didn't know, and it got into his lungs or whatever. He went in for that. Most men wouldn't have survived that, but he survived due to his health. We need to make sure we're not messing around with this. We need to be diligent about this. I promote things like juicing and not overeating and eating less and just not eating junk food, not eating things that taste good to us. And it's time now for everyone to make a decision. And I would suggest to you that the people out there that are the food manufacturers and the people that make this food and things like this purposely make the food taste a certain way, so you would continue to buy the food and continue to eat the food and not care about looking at the ingredients, not care about thinking about what actually you're putting in your body, just eating it because it tastes good. Well, I'm telling you, you have to love your body and health more than you love the taste of something. It's that important, because it might seem all great and everything fine and dandy when you're in that candy bar, but when you're laying, in a hospital, and they're pumped up with all these drugs, then maybe you start thinking. And sometimes we just got to question ourselves why. Why somebody who ate healthy and treated themselves healthy with something like this happen? But this is just another sign to motivate us, not to say, well, this person ate like that and he died, so I'm not going to eat like that. No, the information works. What he was teaching, what I teach, it's not our information. This is information of nature. It's common sense. It's an apple is healthier than an apple pie. A carrot is healthier than a carrot cake. And certainly fruits and vegetables are healthier than eating animals. Now, to what degree you want to apply that natural, basic health message to your life, that's your own personal choice. But I'm going to say it again. It might sound like fun to eat something because you like the taste of it and you put the sauce on it, and you can go to McDonald's and get your hamburger or your Burger King and get your fries or whatever. But fast food is killing you. It's killing you. You have to do your best to eat as healthy as possible, and even the fruits and vegetables aren't healthy anymore because of the sprays and everything else. This is why we got to learn to grow our own foods. And then we got the government trying to kill us with the chemtrails and everything else that they're pouring on top of us and trying to put in our food and poison us with our water and everything else in our drinking supply. We got to do our best to survive, folks. Our best. We got to show some effort and not just give up and give in. And I believe in doing that, we need to understand how the human body works and understand the physical side of just never being satisfied and always wanting more, but how much we could survive with less and enjoying less. And fellow Dr. Fred Bishie once told me when you can enjoy not eating as much as you enjoy eating, you've reached a certain place. Experiencing more with fasting. I just got a brand new juicer yesterday. I'm going to start talking more about juicing and show people this juicer and the importance of it. And I had a video the other day. I was talking about juicing and how important it is to do our best to to get the nutrients in our body that our body needs. And it's so difficult today because the food is so depleted. And taking the right supplements that our body needs based on our blood work, not based on some marketer's campaign of what they think we need, just so they could sell more supplements. You know, and I speak all over the world at health conferences, but I also speak at biblical conferences, and I see so many people that are doing the wrong things. And they think they're doing okay. They think they're doing the right things. And I'm not trying to be right. I'm not trying to be right. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about being healthy and living. You know, and I'm just trying to get this message out to people and let people know there's a way to live. There's a way to live physically, the food we should put in our body. There's a way to live morally, the way we should be living and what we're doing with our choices. And we got to do these things that, you know, if we want to have a chance at survival. It comes a whole nother level. What happens when we get something, when we get diagnosed? What do we do then? And I always say, people, don't wait until you're diagnosed or sick to change. Change now so you don't get sick, or at least it prolongs it. We don't know what's going to happen, folks. We don't know. We got to take it day by day. We don't know. I mean, you can get in a car accident. You can get diagnosed with cancer tomorrow. You just don't know. You know, but that we got to take it day by day and do the best we could and not take any shortcuts in life. No shortcuts. No shortcuts. You know, we have to do the diligence and do the work continually and do our part. A couple of years ago, or several years ago now, when I was a little kid, when I was 14 years old, or 13 years old or whatever, I was doing some stupid things, and I had a piece of wood go in my back, and I pulled it out, but apparently I didn't pull it all out. It didn't heal correctly, and when I was in my 30s, you know, I still had this scar that continued scarring over. I finally went to the doctor, and they told me I had basal cell cancer of the skin, which comes from a wound not healing correctly, and they wanted to cut it out. And I you know, I mean, it shocked my world, shocked my life. I mean, and there are much worse things than what I had, but still, really, me. And I ended up using something called black salve, and I let the body heal with these herbs from nature. But I could definitely have went the wrong path without having the knowledge and let them cut it out or do some other type of things that I shouldn't have done, and I could have made the wrong choice. You know, so, you know, a lot of things we do is a chance and a prayer and just you know, but we have to try. We have to make some sort of effort. And thankfully, I'm doing okay today with that, but you just never know. Never know. I have a good friend who was just standing on the side of the road fixing his truck, and a car came flying off the road and hit him. And he got airlifted to the hospital. He was on the brink of death. And, you know, and he survived. You know, I'll tell you what, he's looking at his life different now than he did prior to that. And so are the people that know him. You never know. So we don't know exactly. We don't know about tomorrow. We only know about today. And we need to be thankful for today. But we need to stop wasting time. Stop wasting time. Now's a great chance and a great opportunity to make these wiser choices and these health choices. Dr. Shandell is going to be speaking at my upcoming Raw Food Retreat, January 26th, 27th, and 28th. It's 2018. Whenever you're watching this, you can check that out. Contact me below the video if you're interested in a retreat. But get to Dr. Shandell's website. Take his cancer blood profile test. You know, we might not have control over an accident or something else that goes on in our lives like that, getting polluted by the government or something else. But we certainly have control over what we put in our body, and we need to make wiser choices. And I'm not necessarily saying eating a raw vegan diet is the wiser choice, because if you don't do it with wisdom, you could be creating more harm than good. Deficiencies are so rampant today because the food just doesn't have what we need in it. So we need to make sure we're taking the right supplements. We need to make sure we're doing the other things like living a stress-free life. We need to make sure we're not being a slave to the system of economy today, and we're doing our best to free ourselves from that. You know, so we could live freer and happier lives. So, you know, I just know that there are a lot of people out there making mistakes, and I'm making mistakes, but we need to just remind ourselves that we're not perfect. We need to humble ourselves, and we need to continuously keep searching and never think we've arrived at a certain place. never think we arrived at a certain place. And that's the key to survival, is just never being so comfortable where you think you don't have to do anything. No, we always have to do something. And my friend that passed, he's certainly in a better place than we are right now. But we still have a chance. And what we do with our time is so significant. That's another important thing. And I see these people just destroying themselves by putting alcohol in their bodies. Last night was a great example. People just, working hard for what? To blow up a firecracker and put alcohol in your body? You think that's fun? You think your body likes that? If that's not wasting time, I don't know what is. So we need to make wiser choices with our health. It's a great time to wake up this morning and say, this is it. If I'm overweight, I'm going to lose this weight. If I'm eating things I shouldn't be eating, I'm going to change. No more green candy for me. I'm going to skip the green M&Ms and Skittles, and I'm going to start eating some green foods. I'm going to skip the corn chips and start eating some corn. I'm going to make wiser choices. I'm going to start exercising. I'm taking care of my health. I'm going to develop a relationship with my creator so depression wouldn't even be a thought. We need to do these things. We need to understand on the emotional level what health is about on an emotional level. Let go of bitterness. Embrace forgiveness. We need to understand on an emotional level the joy that comes, from just doing the instructions that will keep our body healthy on every level. Just not having anxiety and fear that so many people have today, and that creates such a big problem. And I'm at a different place now, certainly. And there are things that happen to us. Getting frustrated doesn't solve the problem. Fixing the problem solves the problem. And that's what we got to do. We got to find a solution. And we don't know all the solutions. We don't even know all the problems, but we do know that what's healthy for us and what's not healthy for us. And we got to stop fooling ourselves, folks. Coffee is not healthy for us. Drugs are not healthy for us. Abusing herbs are not healthy for us. We got to stop fooling ourselves. It's not just how we feel. It's the reality of what these things do to us. Somebody could smoke crack and feel great while they're doing it, but the reality is it's not healthy for them, and it's messing their life up on every level. Well, the same thing goes for food. Overeating and eating the things we shouldn't be putting in our body is not healthy for us. When we look at the science of food and understand that there's oxygen in chlorophyll, which is found in green leafy vegetables, we should try to get that in our body as much as possible. When we understand that true healing takes place not in a doctor's office, but during sleep and rest is where true healing takes place. That's where our creator heals. That's where our body rejuvenates itself. There's no doctor healing cancer. There's our body and our creator healing cancer. Any illness or disease your body creates, your body can heal. That's an important thing to remember. But we have to just take inventory and look at our lives. If you have a big house and 3 cars in the driveway and you're just working from morning to night and not taking time to enjoy life and rest and just be with your family and your loved ones because you don't have time, that's not the recipe for health. That's not the recipe for health. Spending time with your family and just making good memories and just not having to worry about the things that so many people are anxiety about. That's the recipe is just making it work, making it work. So I'm all about this coming season for the recipe of health, and not worrying about the news and the media and all these different things that could happen, and going out there and doing the things that should happen. And that is being healthy and living life to its fullest and truly, honestly, living every day like it's your last, and to stop wasting time. So, if today was your last day, I don't think you'd be wanting to start it off with a candy bar and being sick in bed the whole day. Okay? I used to say, oh, if I knew today was my last day, I'd go out and eat a pizza. Well, I changed my mind. Because if I eat that pizza, I'm going to be sick in bed the whole day. And my last day, I don't want to be sick in bed. If today's my last day, I'd probably fast. I'm not even going to waste time with eating food. I got things to get done, people to see, people to talk to, people to love, people to forgive. I got repentance. I got prayer to go to. You know, I don't want to waste it sticking food in my mouth, especially something that good. And I definitely don't want to waste it being sick in a bed. I want as much energy as possible. And I'll tell you, I have more energy than ever before is if you're not eating. You know, I certainly don't want to spend my last hours shaving in front of a mirror, wasting time with a razor blade next to my face. You know, I want to spend my time with people. I want to spend my time letting people know about eternity. And I want to spend time letting people know, and it's my children, I want to let my children know what I've learned in life of how to be safe, how to be healthy, and how to be happy. You know, that they would see this message even, and they would realize, wow, you know, he could have been, you know, time is it now? Early in the morning. He could have been doing a lot of other, he could have been sleeping right now. He could have been going and making some eggs and bacon for breakfast or something, and satisfying his need for taste and hunger and all these different things. But no, he chose to be obedient to our Creator, to not eat things that aren't honoring his temple. He chose to take his time and use his time to give out this important message. And you know, I see these people on Oprah Winfrey or on YouTube that have been given a death sentence and they only had a couple of months to live, and all of a sudden they become the world's greatest philosophers. And they make these amazing videos and so on. They say, oh, well, I've been told I only have a month to live or a day to live or weeks to live. And I want to tell people. And all of a sudden they change their whole life around. They start telling them, well, why do we have to wait till we're given a death sentence to do that? What a great world it would be if we just all do it like that every single day. If our desire more than anything was to talk to one another, that the elders would tell the younger people the lessons they've learned when it comes to health and when it comes to life and what to avoid and what to accomplish and the things that mess them up, so we can learn from their errors and their mistakes. I feel so blessed and honored to know people like Dr. Fred Bishie, who's 88 years old, and I can call him up and he can tell me and talk to me about the mistakes in his life and the things that I could do to help my life and help myself be healthy, and even with these learning not just from older people, but learning from children, learning so much from children, and learning to appreciate my parents more after having my own children, and just life and just creating life. And for me, the greatest blessing I see is for my Creator to open up a womb and bless me with a child or children where I can go and it's my responsibility to set that example and show them what eating healthy is about, and show them what living healthy is about, and not only just speak it to them, but living it myself. When I have that cup of carrot juice and explaining to them, this is what is going to keep you healthier than what you're eating, or at least trying to make a better choice for them in terms of what I'm giving them, and not just giving them anything just to satisfy the moment, but give them things to build up their life and build a foundation. Hallelujah. So we never know, folks. We don't know. We don't know. I remember there was a wrestler, a professional wrestler, which is really not. Anyway, but his name was The Warrior, I think, and he gets on, and they had like a tribute to him, and he was older now, and they had like a tribute to him and some other wrestlers, and he said, he gave a whole speech. You never know when your last breath is going to be, so you got to live life to your fullest. And I kid you not, the next morning he died. The next morning. And it's the truth. It's the truth. And I just find it so sad and hard to believe this fellow teaching health on the right levels, and we don't know what people are doing in the privacy of their own home. And I'm not even suggesting that he wasn't doing what he said he was doing, because I personally know my best friend who was doing it, and it still didn't work. But I needed to make this video today to warn people that don't negate or throw out all the health information these important people teach of these important messages just because it seems like it didn't work for them. Because again, maybe it prolonged their life. Maybe it helped them longer. Maybe it did. But think about it. Just think about your life right now, everybody. Think about it. What are you doing every day of your life? Here's what the average person does. And I say this, and I've had this in my lectures. The average person's get up at a time they don't want to be getting up to go somewhere. They don't want to be going because they think they don't have a choice. Then they get there and they're so miserable because they don't want to be there doing something they don't want to do. Then finally, after doing that all day, they get home and they turn on the most deadly thing you could watch is the news with all the terrible updates, what's happening around the world. Now they're making something usually unhealthy because of their lack of knowledge for themselves and their family, or they don't even have time to make something and be with their family. So they're ordering food out or taking their family to some fast food chain to get some food. And as they're doing that, when they're driving there, they're either turning on a terrible, disgusting song or they're turning on the news that's giving updates on these terrible, disgusting things that happened all day. And then finally, they eat their food and then finally get home and they continue to watch and let their children watch things that no eyes should ever see, horrific things that in our worst nightmare we wouldn't think of it being a reality, but we let that into our minds. Then finally, we try to watch the nightly news right before we go to sleep, and we get another terrible update on all these different things. Then we say we can't sleep. Then we take some sort of drug to put us to sleep, and then we can't get up in the morning, so we drink some sort of drug to keep us awake all day. And we have this pattern continuously happening, and it is not healthy to any degree. To any degree. I knew a family years ago who quit their jobs, and they decided them and their children were going to just travel the country in a trailer and just live life together and do it together. And they told me, I'll never forget this. They said they would wake up, when they're camping, whatever. They would take a tent, they would camp. They were in front of a river one day, and they this stands in my mind so much. They were playing in the river early in the morning after waking up all night. And they were looking at the bridge on top of the river. And what was on top of the bridge? The rush hour traffic that was taking people to their jobs and everything else. And these people who didn't have a lot of money, they were down there playing with their children in this river. It was a healthy, clean river, playing with their children in the river or your lake, whatever it was, while they were seeing these people go to work, destroying themselves. And if you need to love what you're doing every day, folks. You need to love what you're doing. There's no excuses. You need to love what you're doing. People say, well, I need the money or I got to work or something else. You do not need to work every single day going somewhere you don't like or anything else. It's not healthy. You're working toward your death. That's what I'm telling you. It's not healthy. This is reality, folks. It's not healthy. I spent years of my life growing up in New York, taking a subway, a train to my job, literally wasting hours of my life in a tunnel. And yes, I was doing something valuable at that time. I was reading something doing something valuable. But how much more could I have done during those times? And now we live in a time and age where it's even easier to work for yourself and live for yourself and possible, but we have to let go of all the big things that people want and everything else. It's not difficult. It's not difficult to do, but if you choose to live in the big city with the big job and the big money and the big house and the big cars and everything else, well, then go get the big job with the long hours and all that other stuff. I know people that are living very simple. And they're spending the time together with their family, which is the most important thing. The most important thing. If somebody could do it, you could do it. That's what I'm going to say. If somebody could do it, you could do it. If you're just living your life chasing debt and you're just trying to live your life to pay off your credit cards and you think you're successful because you own stuff, that's not what success is about. There's a book by a lady named called Peace Pilgrim. Peace Pilgrim. I suggest you go check her information out. The lady, she just lived walking around the country, literally walking across the country, spreading the word of peace. And I'm not saying if you have a family and things going on that you can do it exactly the way she did it. But her idea was, when I need something, God will provide. Her idea was that it will be provided, and when she needed, she didn't eat unless somebody gave her food. And the only thing she owned was a clothes on her body and a toothbrush. And she was more happy than most millionaires out there today. So, I'm not saying you have to do it to that particular formula the way she did it, but I'm saying you cannot continue to work the way you work. We have CEOs committing suicide because they're just not happy with their life, or people going to work. If you need a drug, and coffee, by the way, is a drug, folks. If you need a drug to get through the day because you have to get up and you can't stay in bed to get the sleep you need and to live the life you want, something is wrong. And if you're under the thinking that you don't have a choice, what else are you going to do? Something is definitely wrong. Something is definitely wrong. I personally know people that live in their car that are happier than people that are millionaires in mansions. I know people at both ends of the spectrum. More valuable than the money you're making and the bills you're paying is your time and what you're doing with it. And this is an extremely important health message. An extremely important health message. And it's never, ever, ever too late. Ask yourself this right now. How much do you smile every day? How much do you laugh? How much joy do you have in your life? That is where the health message truly rises, because if you're walking around hating your life and hating what you do, you need to quit, you need to move, you need to retire, you need to get rid of this stuff, you need to get rid of that. That's an important part of life. That's an important thing. You need to understand on every single level about health and do it. You need to know what you want and get it. You need to know what our Creator's will is for you and find it. That's what it's about. That's what health is about. I have friends that I grew up with, and they still work on Wall Street, and they work in that industry. And literally, they're getting on a bus in New Jersey, 6 o'clock in the morning, taking a 1.5 hour to 2 hour bus ride into the city, going in a building where the windows don't even open, spending it away from their family 8 to 10 hours a day, coming home and getting home maybe just enough in time to kiss their children goodnight, and then eating something terrible late at night, and doing that every single day. Every single day. So they could pay off their big house or pay off their new cars. And they say they can't even keep up with that. And I would suggest to you that those people would find even more happiness if they just were making some serious life changes. Some serious life changes. And, I didn't always make these changes on purpose, but they seem to have happened in my life. And there's nothing more that I'd rather be doing with my life now than what I'm doing. And if I get sick tomorrow, or if I get diagnosed with something tomorrow, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep fighting, but I'm going to do my best to prevent that. I'm going to do my best to prevent that. And hallelujah, hallelujah. So I pray everybody's going to make better decisions and wise decisions. And remember what you're doing with your time. Your time is such of an essence of who you're spending your time with, and that whole deal. And just make wise decisions when it comes to your health. I got a new juicer that I'm going to start using more. I use my juicer enough now. I'm going to use it more. I'm excited about that. I have a health retreat coming up here on January 26th, 27th, and 28th with some wonderful people that are coming from all over the world to come and to take charge of their health and learn about living healthy. There's still spots left. If you're interested, join below just contact me below the video and we can talk about that. I just have appointments coming up that I'm so excited about. And I have forgiveness, and this is a year of forgiveness, letting go of bitterness. I have just so many blessings coming into my life now, and the greatest joy, my children, seeing them grow and helping them grow, and not sending them to a daycare center or a babysitter all day and be able to spend time with them and raise them and homeschool them. It feels like such a blessing. And some people say, well, you can do that. We can't do that because we got to work. Well, we all create our situation, and we all make our own choices. And we have to think about what we're doing with our time and so on. Nobody said you have to homeschool them during the daytime hours and so on. And, so you could figure out a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? So I'm excited. I'm excited for the future and the hope that our Creator promises us. Because it says in the Bible, in Jeremiah 29:11, it says, know the plans I have for you. They are for good and not disaster, to give you a future and give you a hope. To give you a future and give you a hope. And my relationship with my children, my relationship with the people in my life, my friends, my relationship with the people that contact me for just introduce themselves to me, and my future relationships and my current relationships that continue to grow, the future and a hope in those relationships, and just looking forward to having more children in life, and just raising more children and just teaching more people and just growing and just having that future and hope. And no matter what, remember, I remember, in the Bible, Abraham was 100 years old and he had his son. I'm not giving up on my hope and my dreams of just growing and living and just relationships and being the best father I can be, and just living as healthy as possible. And that's what I want all of you to have. If you're grandparents, is be able to spend as much time with your grandchildren, not being too sick to go and see them, or too lazy, weak, or tired to go out and spend time with your grandchildren. If you're a parent, it's my prayer that you would have more time to spend with your children and not have the work to get in the way of that important time. If you're a teacher, that you'd be blessed to have the freedom to teach your students the right way, and not a part of a Common Core system that tells you what you must show them in every second of the day. And you could raise people up, children up in a more appropriate way, in a more appropriate system. And we would all just speak up more against these deadly things like shooting up our children with crazy harmful chemicals and drugs, and teaching them to be drug addicts at a young age by giving them drugs to offset the drugs we're giving them. That's just crazy. You got adults drinking caffeine and coffee. You got children taking caffeine and energy drinks. And then you got so many people complaining they have insomnia, they can't sleep, and then they got to take drugs to go to sleep. It's just a crazy world we're living out there today, folks. But we can change. We have an opportunity to change, and this is our time to change and a year to change. So pass this message along to others as a reminder to just live life to our fullest, live life better, live life more. Think about where we're spending the hard-earned money and what we're spending it on and who we're spending it with. Think about those things, that we do make wiser decisions when it comes to those things, and change your life. This is the time to change your life. If you don't like your job, maybe you can't leave tomorrow because you gotta pay your rent or buy some food for the family. But let's put a plan together and say, I'm done with this. I'm gonna put a plan together, and I'm gonna make this happen. I'd rather spend time with my family in a studio, spending all day with them, eating good food, than in a big house away from them because I got to work all day to supply that, and letting them have some microwave food or something. Making wiser choices like that, and not caring what other people think. Oh, you're living in a studio with 3 children or 4 children, versus, oh, you got this big, beautiful house and this nice car. Forget about what people think. Go live in a studio and get yourself some bikes and have a bike ride with your family, instead of living in a big house and you got to work to support those cars and everything else. Forget about the world, what they're thinking and what they're saying. Forget about the fears of the world and the fears of man. Oh, you can't quit your job because you won't have any drug insurance. I call it drug insurance, but it doesn't pay for health, it pays for drugs. Oh, you can't do that. What else? How's that going to happen? Then you won't be able to afford your animals to eat. Well, I'll tell you what, bananas are quite inexpensive. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And trusting and knowing you'll be fine. You know, and just thinking what we're working for. You know, and people working to pay for their pets. And in the meantime, they're missing time with their children. It's craziness that's going on out there today. You know, and you see people rushing all over the place to get to some place where they can go and relax. It's just it doesn't make sense what people are doing. Just got to think about that. So today is, and most people have today off today. So try to reflect on this and maybe make a journal or something and just make wise decisions. Wise decisions. And look at your family, look at your children, look at your parents. You know, how much time are you spending with them? You know, they're not going to be here with us forever. You know, so taking all these things into consideration, everybody. And I pray something I'm saying makes sense here for you. And let's get out there and be more and do more and love life more. And prayerfully, we have a long time here. But if we don't, let's make wise decisions so we can spend our time here more wisely. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching today. Watch all the other videos on my website. We still got spots at my Raw Food Retreat, January 26th, 27th, and 28th. Below the video, I'll put the link in a moment here for that if you guys are interested. And just continue to watch my videos. I'm making videos each week. And we have live videos every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And you can become a member. My member website is rawlifehealthshow.com, rawlifehealthshow.com. And for everyone that was watching this, please share this. Let people know. Now's a great time to start making these changes. All right. Until then, everybody, have a great day and a great raw life.